fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, I find it ironic that my first meeting back after, well, forget that, at least a year and a half, that the first subject is self-improvement. Because Toastmasters is the greatest organization for self-improvement. Believe it or not, I was once shy. Can't remember when, but I was once shy. I once doubted myself. Can't remember when, but I must have. I once lacked self-confidence. I was told anyway that I lacked self-confidence. But what is the best way to overcome those things? Well, to join an organization like Toastmasters. My first time around as Toastmasters was back in 1995. I came here, believe it or not, because a young lady asked me to. Well, I was married at the time. Well, still am. I belonged to a networking organization, and a friend of mine walked in, a future friend of mine walked in, and she sat down next to me, and she asked a very important question. How would you like to go to a Toastmaster meeting? I told her I had been to a Toastmaster meeting one time before. Toastmaster meeting before was in Charleston, South Carolina. It was a morning Toastmaster meeting. Not much different than this, except for the only thing is that Charleston Toastmasters met in North Charleston. Try to figure that out. Charleston Toastmasters met in North Charleston. I lived in James Island. For you that hadn't been to Charleston, Charleston is a peninsula community with 6 suburbia islands around it. And I lived on the furthest south island, right here. So that meant I had to drive over a bridge. And bridges have been known to ways up, haven't they? Yep. So the Charleston Toastmasters met at 7:30. So I left the house around about 5:45. Found out the bridge raised up, but that's why I left early. But I get there around about 30 minutes early. So I went in the cafeteria, had a hot chocolate, went to the meeting, and the first thing they said was that we have a tag team. Okay, I can take that. We have a timer. I don't like being timed. We have an hour counter. I'm from Charleston. I have the right to say Oz. And we have a grammarian. I'm from Charleston. I have the right to speak improperly. And this is 7:30 in the morning. I don't know. So I never went back. All of a sudden, back in 1995, a nice looking young lady, who later became a friend of mine, and her husband became a business partner of mine, asked me to go to a meeting. So I went. And I even stayed 9 years before I left, and then had to come back for the second round. Within a year and a half, I was an officer. I was sergeant officer, then became vice president. The president was a guy named Jack Griffin. Jack was a very well-respected member of the club. He was my friend. He was my mentor. And I'm proud to say I loved the man. Jack recently passed away, not too long ago. And I promised John that I'd come back to tell you about an important story about Jack Griffin and why I loved him so much. It took me a while to keep my word, but here I am tonight to tell you about my best friend, my mentor, and a person that the club loved a lot, and I'm one of them. Jack, we all miss you, and we all love you. Jack was president when I was his vice president. And as we were being trained that one Saturday at Tampa Toastmasters, there was a club on the other aisle. And this was the Dackle Club. And Dackle was a drug abuse facility. And they said, well, we're going to have an open house. Why don't you come? So we went to the meeting. Then Jack said, Sanford, they need a mentor. They met on Thursday night, so I went to one Thursday, went to second Thursday, went for 3 Thursdays, went for 4. All of a sudden, I stayed for 3 years. I drove from Carrollwood all the way to Brandon every Thursday night. During that time, there was a nice young lady that was one of the executives of the club who used to belong to him. And so, unbeknownst to me, she asked me to keep coming and to keep coming, and she didn't tell me why. All of a sudden, one afternoon, my wife called me on my cell phone and said, Sanford, you got a letter from the White House. You're being drafted. No, I can't be drafted. Went home. That young lady nominated me for an honor. Well, that wouldn't have been bad, except I'm a conservative just like Jack was. The honor from the White House was a letter thanking me for my civic duty. So this is back in 1997. I got the letter. Who was president in 1997? Bill Clinton. I got a letter thanking me for my civic duty from Bill Clinton, and I'm a conservative. The last line said, Hillary and I would like to thank you. I'm a conservative. Hillary wanted to thank me? Well, I always told Jack I would tell you the story about Hillary and me. Forgive me, but she tried to empower me for that one moment by saying she thanked me. Forgive me, Jack. I did live up to my word. Mr. Toastmaster.
All right. Again, buck slips for our returning Toastmaster, Sanford Sable. While you're at it, raise your hands if you have taken or enrolled in an adult